Think about it. Rugby league isn't really about tries and goals, is it? Not really. It's not about trophies. It's not even about winning. No, rugby league is about people. It's about experiences, friendship, adventures, memories. And it's true you cannot buy those things, but you can organize them. And that's what we've been doing here at Catalan Sport Tours since 2014. Whether it's a World Cup, away to the Dragons, Las Vegas, Cup Finals, State of Origins, Paris or Dublin, we'll organize everything so you can focus on making memories. Because that's what rugby league's all about. Find us at catalansporttours.com.
And now it is time for Hooters here on rugbyleague.com. Live from the MKM Stadium after Wakefield Trinity's 34 points to 10 victory over Hull FC here tonight. The Rugby League day got underway in the NRL Telstra Premiership this morning at McDonald's Jones Stadium in a dramatic game as the Newcastle Knights got on top of the St George Illawarra Dragons by 22 points to 20. A bit of disruption though for the Dragons. Moses Suley injured in the warm-up and Tyrell Sloan ending up on the wing. It was a heartbreaking loss for St George. It was a frantic finish. Kyle Flanagan should have won it for the Dragons on the bell, but dropped the ball with the line begging. Let's hear then, if you're listening on the podcast, to the Newcastle coach Justin Holbrook and what he thought of that victory this evening.
Yeah, I'm just obviously happy to win. That's obvious. It started really well. We got to 12-0 and credit the Dragons. You know, I thought we probably dropped the gear and they lifted. And the last month they've played really well and pushed us all the way to the end, obviously. So, but yeah, look, happy to get the win. It's a tricky time. The Origin time, we have two players at 48 hours, so we don't back them up. You know, they don't have Origin players in, so that's fine. But yeah, we've a few disrupted players, but good signs. You know, we had Thomas Kent playing 80, Francis playing massive minutes, Cody Hopgood playing big minutes that all haven't been playing much NRL this year, so there was plenty of good signs for us, and as I said, good enough to get the win. Defending fairly well, obviously all kick tries against us, so that's an area we've got to improve, but all in all, good to get the win.
And the St George Illawarra coach Dean Young was left to reflect on his side's heartbreaking loss in Newcastle.
Oh look, I think everyone played their role well tonight. It wasn't just the young forwards, everyone had a job to do. We got thrown a curveball before the game started with Moses Suley getting ruled out with a sore hip, and then we had to move Matty Feagai from left wing to right centre and then put Tyrell Sloan on the left wing. So I thought everyone did their job. There's some opportunities for us to win the game, and we didn't nail them, and unfortunately we put all that effort in, we don't get the result.
Two games in the Betfred Super League this evening across the river from us here at the MKM Stadium. Hull KR got on top of the Leigh Leopards by 22 points to 8 this evening as they build up for their huge clash with the Leeds Rhinos next week. 4 tries for the Robins from Joe Burgess, Peter Hiku, Jai Whitbread and Billy Leyland. 2 tries from Alec Winnicki and Bailey Hodgson, who's Hull FC bound next season for the Leigh Leopards. A 14-point victory for the Robins then. Let's hear what the Robins coach Willie Peters thought of things tonight at Sewell Group Craven Park.
Yeah, look, I thought we started really well. I was happy with our start and thought we were dominating, and then we made life tough for ourselves. We just we scored every try that we scored. We didn't complete the next set, and you have to complete the next set. That's the most important thing to do off the back of scoring points is make sure that you get to your kick or you gain a penalty, and we didn't do that. So. There was those errors, but there was a lot of errors in and around that. So, put a lot of pressure on our defence, and I was happy with the way we defended. I thought we looked comfortable for most parts of that game. But like you say, we put too much pressure on ourselves. Yeah, absolutely. It's to beat Leigh any time, whether you play them here or at their place, is always difficult. So, we wanted to win tonight. That's basically what. Yeah, you want performance. We do speak about that, but obviously we want to make sure that we where we're at the moment, 2 points is a very important. Each point, especially losing to Wakefield a couple of weeks ago at the end there. Sometimes it's not how you get the points, as long as you get the points. But in saying that, we are a process-driven team. We are about performance, and we know that we've got to improve for next week because Leeds are, a very good side.
And let's hear now from the Leigh Leopards coach, Adrian Lamb, as his side's run of good form came to an end.
Yeah, just very frustrated, uncharacteristic really. As over the last 2 or 3 months, we've been pretty good, and probably top of the league for highest completions. So I don't know where that's come from. The only thing I can put it down to really is a 5-day turnaround from, Bradford away from home to Hull away from home. 5 positional changes, but there was no minimal training during the week because it's difficult to do. But I thought there was plenty of effort there, but just the first 15 minutes of each half, 2 tries in each of those off the back of our mistakes was just not acceptable.
And finally here at the MKM Stadium this evening, Wakefield Trinity bounced back from that defeat against Wigan last week with a 36 points to 10 victory over Hull FC here this evening. 6 tries for the visitors, who led by 24 points to 0 at half-time. First half tries, 2 for Tom Johnson, 1 for Seth Nicotimo and 1 for the captain Mike McMeekan. 4 off 4 from the boot of Max Jowett sent the visitors in 24-10 up at half-time, but Hull fought back in the second half. 2 tries in 12 minutes from Tom Briscoe and Davy Litton, with an Aidan Caesar goal reduced the gap down to 10 points, but then Jeremiah Matauti got himself sin-binned 12 minutes before the end, and Wakefield with 2 late tries from Jazz Tavanga and a second for Nicotimo and 2 goals off the boot of Max Jowett wrap things up for Darryl Powell's men. Let's hear now what the Wakefield coach Darryl Powell thought of things here tonight at the MKM Stadium.
So we wanted 2 points tonight. We needed to respond from what happened to us last week, and I thought we did that. I think particularly with the first half performance, so I'm pretty pleased. Yeah, first half I thought we maybe left a couple of tries on the field, and it could have been a little bit more dominant. We talked about the first 10 minutes just going out with a 0-0 mentality, and maybe did that a little bit too much. Maybe I don't know. I have to watch it back, but. Tom drops the ball, they score try straight away. The team's not really doing anything wrong, but we end up, they've shot that they've got their way back into the game a little bit, and then they score again, and it looks a little bit uncomfortable there. And our right edge sort of didn't handle that shift well, but we grabbed it back and we ended up getting a couple of late tries. So whilst the game's never perfect, I thought we did a lot to build on there, particularly in the first half.
And here is what the Hull FC coach, Andy Last, had to make of his side's performance here tonight.
Yeah, game of 2 halves. First half, wasn't happy with the way that we performed. Defensively, they rolled us up the field far too easily. The mobility and power of their pack, really got them on the front foot, and we didn't do a good enough job in stopping them. The physical battle we certainly lost, and then unfortunately we lose Herman for 10 minutes, and they was very, very ruthless in that period and scored 2 tries, and obviously that took them to 24-0 at half time. So half time's messaging was all about getting that physical side of the game right, digging your shoulder in, turning the ball over in good areas, and front loading a little bit of energy in D and stop them being able to penetrate our defensive line and bend the line back and create separation, which allowed them to offload. And I thought we did that in the second half, and we showed if you do that, we can compete. And the second half was far better and much more how we hoped it had been.
So to wrap up your Rugby League day here on Hooters on rugbyleague.com, in the Telstra Premiership it finished Newcastle Knights 22, St George Illawarra Dragons 20. And in the Betfred Super League, where the millionth fan has crossed through the turnstiles this year, it finished Hull FC 10, Wakefield Trinity 36, and across the river it was Hull KR 22, Leigh Leopards 8. Stay with rugbyleague.com this weekend. A Saturday triple header is on the way, live from the LNER Community Stadium at 3 p.m. UK. York Knights take on Wigan Warriors. Then we're live in Perpignan at 6 o'clock with Mick Gledhill as the Catalans Dragons take on the Bradford Bulls. And then we finish the day at the Wombo Stadium in Castleford as Castleford take on Toulouse. Don't forget, Sunday morning, our first ever NRL call from Allianz Stadium as the Sydney Roosters take on the Cronulla Sharkies. 9:15 UK for that one. You've been listening to Hooters on RugbyLeague.com with Matt Horton. Keep it RugbyLeague.com.
Joining me from the Midlands of England here on RugbyLeague.com is former first grader back in Australia and also over here in Europe, and Australian Schoolboys representative Troy Perkins. Tell the listeners what you're up to now.
Yeah, mate, Rugby Discounts is what it's called. It specialising in all the latest NRL kit from Australia, whether it's jerseys, training T-shirts, training vests, training shorts, hoodies, all the most clubs are available. You can get me on www.rugbydiscounts.net. I've also got a Facebook page, Rugby Discounts, so very active on that, and Instagram as well. So best prices and the great quality NRL gear that is very difficult to get in the UK.
The Rugby League Coach podcast is hosted by me, Leigh Addison. I'm a former coach at NRL clubs, a couple of World Cups. You may remember the USA shocking the world in 2013. That's one of them. I also coached Poland to an Emerging Nations World Cup and helped Ireland a few years ago too. I've also worked at 3 elite high schools in England, and I like to offer my coaching services for free on this podcast. It's a Rugby League Coach podcast, and you can get to it through RugbyLeague.com, the world's first 24-hour online rugby league radio station. That's a Rugby League Coach podcast with me, Leigh Addison.